Okay, you know what? We're live now. I didn't realize someone's got rid of our flipping intro, but it is what it is. It's
Some
fine.
hate, some haters, boy.
It's
We
fine. It
gotta
is
change,
what it is.
we gotta change it anyway. Our team's got to be European champions and all that.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. What, people, welcome back to another episode of the New Spurs Order podcast. I'm on hosting duties this evening. It's Tapping Tobes here. I'm joined by George, probably the hottest man in YouTube right now. He's been going on the nastiest of press runs, just clapping back on all the ops. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, man. Very, very, very well. I told them, don't let me get a trophy and I'll be
Mm,
unbearable. And that's it exactly
mm.
right now. We're on a trophy on European champions. Feeling I don't even know how we ended up the season we've all got smiles on our faces. It's crazy. Like everyone else is stressed about transfers. I'm like, shit, I'm champions. I don't care. I swear to
Uh,
God, like, it's
It's
mad
mad.
right now.
It's very, very mad. And I want to shout you out as well because obviously you went out on a limb and you did content with George Achillia. If anyone hasn't seen it, go check that out on his TikTok. But you actually made a bold prediction. This was like maybe what 5-6 weeks ago, with an Arsenal fan
To be
on the
fair, it was about a few months ago. It only
if
got it's a few months ago. Even that, it was before any of the semi-finals with Real Madrid or anything like that.
even
mad.
better, even better. So like this was recorded what maybe January, February, right? And you said Spurs are going to win a trophy before Arsenal, and lo and behold, it is. We're in the second last day of May, and one of the teams have seen their team win silverware, and it's not Arsenal.
Comfy. It's the way I like it.
Boy,
Hey, it feels extra nice. It feels also
boy,
nice still.
boy. Anyway, Yao, Scott Hall, third panelist on tonight's show. What are you saying, bro?
Listen, bruv, I'm not gonna lie. George's run has been so fantastic. Like I've been proud of him. Like earlier this year, I said off air, like earlier this year. Normally the NSO brethren, we don't fight each other when we go into other podcasts. We kind of like work as a tag team. But we went onto one podcast, and I felt like Jules was making excuses. So obviously, I had to throw him over the ropes at the Royal Rumble, bro. Every man for themselves, innit? But since then, my man has gone to WrestleMania, lifted up the title, gone to Backlash, defended it, come back to another event, defended it. So now it's good right now. I'm not gonna lie to you, like I said, and we'll get into it obviously, leading up to that final. Man was mad stressed because I knew the importance of it. But at the end of it, we're one half of the European champions. We're just waiting for the other half to do whatever they need to do tomorrow, and we'll meet them in the Super Cup.
Yep, fully agree, fully agree. And listen, people keep calling me shameless for saying I want that Super Cup. I want
Wow.
that Super
Every,
Cup, bro.
everybody wants that Super Cup. Yeah, I don't.
I want it,
How can you
fam.
be shameless for wanting the Super Cup?
Fam,
That's
I want it.
It's the highest honor you can get in Europe. Let's have it right. The winner is of a champion versus a champion, makes the greatest champion, the real champion of Europe. So
trust.
if we get that, you think this is bad? Don't let me be the ultimate champion of Europe. Hey, it's crazy, man. Trust me.
Bruh. Anyway, people, we're here to talk about Spurs, man. There's been, I want to say a lot. There's not really been a lot. I think it's people still just soaking in that Europa League, and I feel like we're going to be soaking that in all summer. But in the midst of the glory, we do have to talk about the matters for the season ahead because in case we didn't realize, all of our ops, they're making moves. I know we're in bliss, we're enjoying the trophy run, but teams are making moves. Teams are making moves. Bournemouth have made the signing. Man City, Reinders, Turkey, Chelsea, Delap, Arsenal, Chesko, and Zubamendi. Like teams are making moves, bro. So we can be in domestic bliss all we want or European bliss all we want, but we have to talk about making moves. We need decisions. And speaking of decisions, we have to start with the man at the top, Ange Postecoglou. Spurs put out a video today. I'm not sure if you lot have had a chance to see it, but they've put out a preview to a documentary that they've obviously created around Spurs winning the Europa League. And there's a very interesting sort of scene where Ange is giving a speech, and already the commentary to that speech and the commentary that we've seen over the past couple of days, When I tell you the stuff that people are saying to say, how can you get rid of this? He's created such an atmosphere. So let's talk about it. Let's have it out, guys. Ange Postecoglou. We're going to have the same conversation for the rest of the summer until a decision's made. So people who are listening, get used to it. Ange Postecoglou, in or out, where do we stand? And how do we feel about our fellow fan base and their opinions and attitude towards his tenure at the club? I'll start with you, Yao.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Sorry,
that, yeah,
George.
this one because he's got a very strong opinion on this. So
Yeah.
it's best.
I'm Ange out. So let's have it right. Yeah, I'm Ange out. And you know what? The first person I'm gonna need to shout out, and they're gonna need to explain themselves. So hopefully somebody can clip this up and send it to them, is Ali Gold. You know, Ali Gold, he's come out recently and he's done his podcast and he said, he's tried to explain that you don't sack a manager that's won you, a European trophy, the first in 41 years. You don't sack him. You kind of have to give him a chance. And then he used Spurs' previous 3 or 4 trophy victories and where they finished in the league as a barometer for why we shouldn't really go too domestically hard on the manager for how our performance was in the league. And my rebuttal to that is, I've said on podcasts before, and I've said it in the group chat, that Spurs are a big club. We just don't act like one. We've made this very clear many a time. I don't understand how you can make an excuse for 22 defeats in a league. Yes, we won a trophy. Yes, remits were actually met by winning said trophy. So in that regard, we won the trophy, which meant that we go straight into the Champions League. Great, that's fantastic. But we finished with 22 defeats in a league campaign. There's 38 games in a league campaign. We had 10 defeats in that league campaign at home, just at home. So 10 out of the 19 games at home, man, were just watching us just hold L's. And man are like, oh yeah, but because we won this trophy, the manager should be exempt. And I'm like, okay. So you mean to tell me that in no world you can see Spurs finishing in the top 6 and winning a trophy? Like, for some reason, the Poch years, which were so great, by the way, the Poch years, which were amazing up until we won this trophy, everyone was like, oh, we were competing. That was the argument. We were competing. He got us in a good rhythm and all that kind of stuff. Now that we've won this trophy, apparently now, oh yeah, we can't compete on all fours. I'm like, what are you talking about? That to me doesn't make sense. And the whole, you don't sack a manager that's won a trophy. Well, forget Ten Hag. Don't use Ten Hag as your actual example of not sacking a manager. Just go to the last manager that won a trophy for us. He even finished higher than Postecoglou did. Just go to Juande Ramos. Yeah, and Juande Ramos arguably had a
much better pedigree. Much better pedigree.
Not just better pedigree. He made, you know what? We might have to do this on another day. There is a possible argument, yeah, that he might have had just enough, strong enough team. Maybe a few players here and there from this current team are better than the ones back then. But that team weren't rubbish. And he finished 12th with that team and won a Carabao Cup. Yeah. And we kept him. The following season, we didn't see a win to game week 9. Like, we didn't see a victory to game week 9. We were on 2 points after 8 games. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying, let me make this very clear. I'm not saying that the same thing can happen this way with Postecoglou. And if I'm being brutally honest, I would much rather be proven wrong here. And he goes on to do fantastically well because the stakes are my team. But here's where my problem is. He's the manager that now goes to the board and says, yeah, I delivered on my remit. And the board are like, okay, what was your remit? Get Champions League football and try and win a cup. The board's like, yeah, great. But you finished 17th in the league. Like, in terms of revenue, yeah, we got money from the Champions League coming to us. Yeah. But in terms of what we get from the league, this is what you brought in. And we had 20. It wasn't like we finished 17th and it was like, oh, I don't know. I know this doesn't happen, but it wasn't like we finished 17th and we had 10 defeats. We finished 17th with 20. That is relegation form. I know man are gonna say the injuries, certain man didn't play. I'm like, I hear all of it. But the part that I do not understand and I don't get is what is wrong with managing the team correctly? You're gonna have injuries no matter what in any season. You can't tell me, oh yeah, no, because the players we didn't have, yeah, that's why we just continued to play stupid ball and lose left, right, and center. There is a form sheet at one point where our one victory came against Southampton. The rest of the form sheet was red. One draw, one yellow, and one green. That was it. It was 8 red, 1 yellow, 1 green. We're talking about Tottenham Hotspurs here. Like, we're legitimately talking about a team with the 6th highest trophy-laden cabinet in the whole of England. Like, we should not be accepting this. But I've already accepted, as you know, George will go on to probably say his part. I've already accepted that this guy is going nowhere, because most of our fan base, not necessarily how George sees it, but most of our fan base will be like, "You want us a trophy? He deserves to stay there." I'm like, okay, all right. You make your bed, be prepared to lay in it.
That's the thing, innit? I think for me, I don't have such a strong opinion on it as you do, because I've sort of accepted the long fate from a long time ago. But it's one of those ones. Look, he is technically our most successful manager in 30 plus years. And we're talking about I would even go as long to say since the last manager that won our European Cup before, because FA Cups and League Cups aren't bigger than UEFA Cups for me. They're just not. It's got more pedigree. So he's our most successful manager and got nearly 40 years. So when you look at it from that point of view, I can understand why a lot of fans have got this affinity to him. Some of their greatest memories, which will be the parade that we see each other at, like having fun. These are some of the greatest memories for us as Spurs fans. So he's gonna hold that moment in, and a lot of people are gonna hold that moment in their heart and just attach it to what Postecoglou's brought back to the club. But like you, I agree. The performance across the season has not been good enough. And when I mean performance, forget even the results. For me, it's the football. The football, even after, and look, the thing is that so mind-blowing to me is in the final and the way that we played leading into the final, we done that early in the season, but he chose to abandon it so we can just play our way, you know, whatever way Ange likes to call himself, like this high-pressing, high-line style. So we sacrifice ourselves in the Premier League, lose loads of games playing that way, but win playing a different way. That goes to show you that his football's not sustainable. Now, I get for a lot of people, when you spoke about Wende Ramos, this I don't think is a fair comparison, simply because that was an older team coming to the end of its generation, didn't really have too much younger spark. And after that, those years, we brought in a lot of younger players. This is a very young team. I do think that this trophy win ultimately is going to breed something into them, breed some hunger. Like Mikey Moore and some of these younger players around this squad, they've now tasted victory at such a young age. They're going to be hungry for it. They know what it's like now. So I feel like the squad that we have is primed to have a manager come in and take them to the next level. But I'm not sure if Ange Postecoglou is that guy. And now, if we are going to end up giving him a few months, I'm not going to be going mad every minute saying, get him out of the club. I don't trust him. I do think that if Ange has top players, Tottenham are going to play a very, it's going to be, we're going to be a lot better team with some top players. It might be exciting at times, but we're always going to have that vulnerability at the back. And that's why I just can't trust in him as a manager. So for me, I'm still Ange out. But at the same time, if he does stay, it is what it is, isn't it?
They're both compelling arguments, right? And you're right. Like, in normal circumstances, a manager who wins silverware typically gets to keep his job. Like, that's the bare minimum reward, right? But unfortunately, this isn't normal circumstances. Like, we're a team that have somehow been able to win a trophy this season, and we've given the manager credit for that. He's going to be, he will never ever go down as a legend in my eyes. But he will be forever remembered at the club. Nobody is ever going to forget this, right? If you are a manager that's brought a European major trophy, right, you're going to be remembered. His name is etched in our history. Simple. That's the reality. But for me, your name is also etched in our history for the wrong reasons. This is the worst ever Premier League campaign Tottenham have ever had in history. When kids will search on Premier League records, when they're on PremierLeague.com in 10, 15 years time, and they're saying, and they start getting into our age or like maybe 15, 16, when they start using SofaScore and stuff, and they say, hey, look, let's see let's see where Tottenham finished in the last couple of seasons. They're going to look at this season. They're going to see that Tottenham accumulated 38 points from 38 games. They're going to see that we conceded bucket loads of goals. They're going to see that we lost 22 times. And those stats, figures, trends, they don't speak to a manager who's suddenly just gonna come the following season and just give us a completely different campaign. Okay, we probably won't finish 17th next season if we get better players. Agree with that. If we have more players fit, we probably don't finish 17th. But where do we finish? Do we meet our aims? Do we balance the Champions League well? Like, everyone talks about the results, but let's actually talk about the style of play as well. The style of play is not good. Our players get isolated in midfield. How many times do we see Bentancur isolated, Basuma isolated, the fullbacks isolated, Solanke isolated? We're using wingers that can't even wing play. We have guys who can't even wing play. They're stuck out wide. The tactics is all wrong, and yet he finally reverts and in fact, I wouldn't even say revert. He finally tweaks consistently in the Europa League in the last 2-3 away games or matches where we're not playing at home, and it pays dividends. So my thing is, why did you wait until this moment to play this way? You didn't need Van de Ven and Romero to tell you if you play a more compact game, you might have a better chance of getting a result. We literally saw it against Liverpool. We all said it on the pod. Look at the difference. We played Liverpool playing his way. We got smashed 6-1. We play the same team again, playing a different way, and we win 1-0. No one's saying it's going to be a success every time, but it gives us better foothold in games. And it's like, if it takes you 20, 21, 22 losses to figure that out, what hope do I have? I don't want to see him in the dugout in the Champions League. I'll be real. I don't. I get scared. I actually get scared of the prospect of him managing our club in Champions League football and Premier League football, then League Cup football, then FA Cup football. I am scared because I've seen too much. I've seen bad player mismanagement. I've seen bad tactics. I've seen so many things, bad results, like arrogance. I've seen him basically erode any good favor I had towards the manager. So I'm just like, why would I want to see more of this at the football club? Why? Yeah, you were saying it today, but sorry, you were saying it today. No. I know I'm going on, but I'll finish now. You were saying it today, bro. Conceição at Milan, he won them trophies. He was out on the pitch, smoking the cigars. One of Milan's worst season in recent years. Today, 30th of May, P45 handed, off you pop. Thanks for the service. Go.
No time for it. like
go.
You know the part I don't understand, and there's gonna be a lot of chat this whole summer. Be prepared, fans. Yeah, because we're gonna be calling other podcasts. I've been saying it all year. We're gonna be calling other podcasts to the roost. Finally, they're coming down to the limit.
They are. Look out for that as well, people. Coming soon, real soon.
But my thing is this year. I don't understand how Spurs fans. Yeah, maybe we've gone 17 years without a trophy, and maybe all those fans that keep talking about Spurs don't win trophies because obviously they don't like doing history research and all that kind of stuff. But we've gone so long without a trophy that man are literally telling me that they will take 17th and a cup win every single season. And I said, when I heard this, the first thing I said to myself was, I don't know about you, man, yeah, but when it comes to sports, when I play just computer games, yeah, sports, bruv, after 5 defeats, I'm contemplating sacking myself. Yeah, so how do you think I'm feeling about a man in real life? Like, I'm talking about, let me actually paint the picture for what man I say. FIFA or PES, it doesn't matter which football platform it is, FIFA or PES, yeah? Imagine you started in the Championship or Division 1. You've got up, you've been promoted to the Premier League with whatever team you've created, yeah? And you're taking nothing but losses against the computer, just lost. You win the cup, yeah, but the computer game looks at your like what it had your target for and what you did, bruv. When the season is done, you're going to find yourself without a club. The computer game won't even, it will look at the metric and be like, nah, there's no argument here, bro. You are gone. Go find another club to go manage because you've done an absolute madness. 17th. Remember, Tottenham are considered to be one of the big six. Rightfully so. I don't care what other fans have to say. Rightfully so. On history and on merit, Spurs are considered to be one of the top six. We are lucky. We are genuinely lucky that in the season that we finished 17th and won this Europa League, yeah, that United finished 15th. Like, we are lucky that another big six club was just as bad as us, yeah, because there is no other. We might never, listen to me and listen to me good, we might never in our lifetime see another top 6 team be this bad in the league and circumnavigate it by winning a European competition. Like, we might never see this again. Like, we're not West Ham. I know their fans are not going to like hearing this. We're not West Ham. We're not Fulham. No disrespect to none of those clubs. We are legitimately, all right, by current recent history, the third biggest club in London, because, you know, you're going to go on trophies as your barometer. But in terms of in London as a whole, we are one of the top 3 clubs in London. Around the whole of the UK, we're one of the top 6. It's just a fact. Whether you like it or not, it's just a fact. And I don't understand how people can... Yes, fine. If he stays, he stays. The club hasn't said nothing. I've heard people say, why should the club have to say something? They do have to say something, because now if you're going to tell us that, yes, this manager is staying, okay, fine, that's done. You have to spend more money. I don't give a damn if you don't trust the manager, yeah? Now 100%. That you've told us that he's staying, yeah?
100%.
You have to go and spend more money.
Facts.
And we ain't got time for none of this. Oh, you know, we finished 17th. We ain't got time for none of that, because before we won this trophy and guaranteed ourselves whatever the Champions League money was, man were coming out and saying, yo, looking at the league positioning, P's are low. It's going to be a rough summer. You ain't got no argument now. We're in the Champions League. The fans galore know what the Champions League money revenue equates to. You've got nothing to stand on. You need to go into the market and make it happen.
100%.
There's no excuses, man. No excuses.
100%. And we'll touch on the market going forward, but I think that's just what it is, yeah. We need clarity. Even to your point there, like, we're as clear as day when it comes to us and our position on Ange. But do you think anyone here is gonna go and riot? No. If they keep him on, not going to be happy about it, but it is what it is. Just get on with the summer and back him, because if you're keeping him on, that tells us you believe in him. And if you believe in him, then you got to give him the players. You got to give him the players that he needs, because whether we like it or not, irrespective of the tactics, etc., one thing that I think 99% of Spurs fans I've spoken to are unanimous in is the summer transfer window and the January transfer window. They were not good enough. Everyone could see it from a mile away. They were not good enough. That being said, they were not so disastrous that you finished 17th. So that's the problem. And unfortunately, he performed so bad that you couldn't even put all your focus on Daniel Levy, because you've got this guy who's just literally losing and breeding a culture of losing. It sounds mad saying that because we've won the Europa League, but he genuinely made it basically acceptable to lose in the league.
You know, one thing I forgot to say, yeah, and let me make this very, because I've seen a few podcasts complain and argue about this. You know, a few Spurs fans complain and argue about this. He came out and said that, you know, there was a collective. If I'm correct in the words that he used, because I don't want to get this wrong. If I'm right, he said there was a collective decision made that they were going to put all their eggs into one basket, being the Europa League. Now, granted that the Europa League, this is what, like, he actually, it's actually what he came out and said. Now, granted, the winning the Europa League is, you know, because they've reverted the competition a couple seasons ago, but they reverted the competition to what it was in the early 90s / early 2000s, where if you win it, you went automatically to the Champions League, which I've always felt it should be for the prestige of what the competition actually is. But brother, despite the fact that Spurs were, and rightfully so, should have been the favourites in that tournament, well, in the previous years when we've been favourites, we haven't even gone past the quarterfinals. This was a gamble that I would never take in my life. This was this is why that parade was so hectic, yeah, because this gamble was unbelievable.
Peak. Yep.
Man you need to understand, we canned off almost 75% of our league campaign. Canned it off. Like it's basketball. Like, come summertime, we're gonna get the number one. No, we canned it off. We didn't even finish with 40 points, the golden 40-point mark. Canned it off on the basis of beating whoever it was that we were going to face. Yeah, because he believed we would make it to the final. So he canned it off on the basis of whoever we were going to face, we were going to beat them. Now look at the teams on the other side of that bracket. Real Sociedad, fine. Could we have, in my eyes, Spurs should be beating Real Sociedad, but that's another day for another story. Olympique Lyon, again, Spurs should be beating them, but they could easily beat us. Yeah. Athletic Bilbao, Spurs should be beating them, but again, we were just fortunate that the team we faced was the only team in this whole competition that we have faced previously in and slapped. Like, I haven't seen a defeat home or away against United in nearly 2 years. So coming into the final, I was like, all right, if there was one team we could have prayed for to face, it really was them. And and I said to everyone that I went to the game to watch, I was like, all I cared about was taking the lead. I genuinely believed if we took the lead, it was a wrap. And that's what it was. We played horrid. Like, that was what I call a professional get it done job. Yeah. United were no better. And we're lucky that they were no better, because we saw what happened to Betis. They got absolutely harammed. And that could have been us if we were very unlucky. But obviously, we weren't. We're European champions. That's great. We're in the Super Cup. That's fantastic. But I don't like to reward mediocrity. I never have. You know, I don't give my youngest flipping a yogurt for like breaking everything in the house, but then turning out and scoring a hat trick in his school football match. No, brother, you broke everything in the house. You don't pay for nothing. Yeah, you ain't getting no yogurt either. Go to bed early. I don't understand this, but it's fine. Like George said, he ain't going nowhere. I think I said this in the group chat time ago. Like, literally, probably the week after the final was done. It's like, this ain't going nowhere. Like,
I've got a question, and I'm going to direct it to George, right? So, big up Uncensored Football Fan. So he said, in response to the style of play and Ange knowing when to mix it up, he said Ange played that negative, or let's say expansive football against Liverpool away and Arsenal away and lost Tobes. Now, I have a view on this, but I want to get your point of view on this, George.
Well, he didn't play that way against Liverpool away in the Carling Cup. If we're talking about that game, we definitely or Carabao Cup, sorry, we definitely didn't play that way. He played the top. Well, we sat in a bit more, but that wasn't the way that we played. Like, if you was the first Liverpool game in the Carabao Cup, we played the right way. We sat back and done it the right way. In the second leg, it was just a mess. There was a loads of different instructions going on. It was a complete mess. So Shagan, it definitely, I know who Uncensored Football Fan is. He's just clearly in the Ange train. Nah, bro, I don't think you got it right there. And the Arsenal game, again, to be fair, I don't think we played terribly in the Arsenal game. I think they were just better than us and a bit more clinical. And
I think it was obviously
done what we done, but we lost due to a mistake, I'd say, that game. Like, I generally don't think that they were good. The Basuma, the way that he gave away the ball, ultimately ended up leading to them scoring the goals. So I don't think it's a case of, oh, Ange tried that way and it didn't work. No, because there's plenty of examples of it working. Manchester City away early in the season when we got the win. That was one of the best examples of us playing that way. So
Brentford.
Yeah.
Brentford away.
Oh, yeah, Brentford away.
You know what it is as well, yeah. So people hit, like, I like your answer as well. And I think for me, people look at that and they just think, oh, Ange changing is just, oh, you just parked the bus for 90 minutes. No, it's knowing when to sort of mix things up. Like I use the Bodo game, the Bodo over 2 legs is the best example of that. Yeah, in the first leg, like when the game was there for us to go and pam them, we pammed them, and that should have been a 5 or 6-0 job. Somehow it ended 3-1. Away from home, you respect the opposition. They didn't have. I think they struggled to even have, like, they had way more possession than us. They were in our half, but they didn't have any clear sight in that goal. Their midfielders didn't get any sort of time on the ball when they got close to our goal. Like, you compare that to Liverpool. Liverpool was all over the shop. Basuma Bentancur was still in the midfield by himself. Liverpool were finding gaps. Like, you can't say he played like that, because you can clearly see the instruction and the use of certain players. It's different. It's different. So for me, if you're going to be compact, be compact. If you want to play expansive, play expansive. But my biggest issue with Ange Postecoglou is know what the game needs. Like, he's a manager who just wants to play his own way for the majority of the game instead of playing to what the game needs. You can do both. You can incorporate your style, but you can also recognize when the game needs the team to be a bit more like slower in possession, less space in between the midfield, less space between the defense, the fullback's not bombing forward, then do it. And it's not like he can't do it. We've literally seen it in spells over the season. It's not even just Liverpool at home. I remember Wolves at home. I think he played a more reserved style, and we were unlucky to draw that game, but we drew that game. But I wasn't coming out and pamming him tactically. But it's an accumulation of how bad you've performed over the season. Like, if you mix things up a bit more, Spurs probably get the more positive outcome. But anyway, there's a couple more comments I just wanted us to address. So Carlo, this one's for you. Yeah. So Carlo says, I think if you were at genuine risk of getting relegated, Ange would have prioritized the league, and you would have hoped that we would have a few more points. Well, I mean, before Europa League was firmly on the cards, we were still in 13th, 14th, 15th.
Can I say something about this? We had a major injury crisis. That's a fact. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie. We had a major injury crisis, and I'm glad that Carlo put that comment up next.
Yeah.
But by the 19th game of the season, yeah, I might be off by a few points, but we were like 5, maybe 6 points off Aston Villa by the 19th game of the season. With all our injury concerns, we were 6 points off Aston Villa. Villa finished what? 6?
Yeah.
6. Now, I'm not saying that we would have finished 6, by the way. I'm just saying this man clearly sacked. Like, I know people don't want to hear the word that he sacked off the league, but he's come out and said this. And now that I'm looking at what I've seen for the last 19 games of the league, clearly that must have been the case. Because the difference in performance, let me highlight this. The difference in performance between our cup games and our league games was brutal. When I say, like, you could almost, we lost away to, what's their name? RZ Alkmaar, because we had to go through the round of 16 or whatever. We lost to RZ Alkmaar away from home. We should have lost by more, by the way. But
yeah,
we had
terrible
players,
performance.
We had players returning from injury. Yeah, that's fine. I can almost like let that slide. The second leg at our ground, we pammed them. Yeah, and we almost threw that game away because we basically gave them a goal. Yeah, but we pammed them, got the victory, got through it. The next game we faced Frankfurt. Yeah, the lead up to the Frankfurt game, horrid. I think we even lost. I can't remember what game it was, but we were horrid. They scored within the first few minutes, and then we absolutely pammed them at home. Like, we should have legitimately won that game 3-4-1. Yeah, all right, cool. It's fine. It's 1-1, whatever. Following league game, abysmal. We then go and face them away from home. Fantastic performance, professional. Like, I don't even remember them having a chance until like the second half when we had taken the lead and they had that little flurry where they could have got like an equalizer and stuff like that. I was like, all right, cool, that's football, that's what happens. But essentially, got the job done. Bodo Glimt, obviously, we faced them. I know people like, you faced Bodo Glimt. It's not our fault that Lazio fell apart, innit? It's not our fault, but whatever. Faced Bodo Glimt, again, home leg, slapped them. This time, the goals went in. So we didn't have to really worry too tough. And then we went to their ground, the ground that they'd only seen 3 defeats in like 40 matches. And we went there and we dominated. We done what we needed to do on a professional standpoint, got the job done. And obviously we done the final. My only concern is I've never understood, nobody can explain to me how we've watched Newcastle have an injury crisis, because Newcastle did have an injury crisis this season. We've watched Aston Villa have an injury crisis.
Arsenal as well.
I'm not going to say City because City have like 6 teams. Like,
Brighton.
Bournemouth is probably the one.
Palace got half their team written off.
All of these teams had an injury crisis and yet finished with so many more points than we did. We by points per game, we picked up 1 point per game. We finished on 38. There are only 38 games in the league. We picked up 1 point per. Listen, you couldn't even do this at Wanstead Park. Do you know what kind of rubbish as a team you have to be to pick up 1 point in 38 games? Not you picked up 20 points and you got bland. Yeah, that's a different story. If you're Southampton, whatever, that's a different story. I'm not talking about that. We are Tottenham Hotspur. We picked up 1 point per game. You will never find a season like this in your life. 38 points, 17th in the league, and the only way we made it to the Champions League is because we won the Europa League. Meaning, in the competition, the Champions League competition, when they look at the rankings, they'll be like, yeah, this is the team that finished 17th in their respective league. We've got to have some shame. Yeah, we've got to have some shame. But at the same time, I need everybody to understand, we're also going to be unbearable because we're the champions of Europe. You're Facios, you get me? Like, you can't take that from me, yeah? But the point that I'm making is, I hear what man are saying in terms of like, yeah, we could have chased more points. But does anybody know how many points Aston Villa finished on? What was it, 67?
66, I think. 66.
Yeah.
So these guys who were only 6 points ahead of us in January almost finished 30 points ahead of us in the league, and they had an injury crisis. Like, this is the point I'm making. I'm like, you can't. Like I said, I've never. I don't want to hear this manager. What we're talking about next season now. There's no way we should be accepting this one. Yeah, but it's happened. It's done. He can't get away with saying, "Oh, yeah, it's not going too well in the league. I'm gonna just focus on the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup or even the Champions League." Brother, if you're not in this competition, the league is your bread and butter. The one thing that's never going to go, no matter what, is the league. You might not play in Europe one season. Yeah, fine, the domestic cups are the domestic cups, but you might not play in Europe one season, like United next season. The league is going nowhere. Those 38 games is mandatory. Man has managed the team horridly. He tried to take props for Jed Spence, Romantar. I'm like, no, don't do that. You
nasty work. That was nasty work from
nasty work.
There's been a consistency with him on that. Yeah, is that and because I've actually, like, a lot of my streams, I've done like press conference breakdowns. I'll just be sitting there and I'll go through things. And he contradicts himself so much from things he said early in the season to now things that he's accepting. And then, like, he says things you're like, no, but you weren't saying this a couple. It's just a lot of things for me.
100%.
That he says that I just can't get behind. And it seems like a lot of the time it's just a battle with the press or whoever they are, the journalists themselves. He just wants to bite back with make sure he seems right in the moment. He's one of those guys just looking to get their one-liners and walk off. But yeah, no, for me, like, even with that speech before the final game, it was auraless for me. Like, it was like after the semi-final, we're seeing everyone, he's in the changing room, he's speaking to them. I wasn't sold. Now, let me not lie. I'm not gonna gas it out. When we heard season 2 is gonna be there than season 3, yeah, I was getting mad at this. I was getting mad.
Yeah, that was smoke talk, and that was cool. That was smoke talk because he's backed his chat, and then he's allowed to talk. He's up to talk.
You have to
talk
do
shit.
that.
But I think we can move off of Ange because we're 40 minutes in. We can move off of Ange, but one of the things
40 minutes.
that was only meant to be 20. But one of the some of the comments are talking about the injuries and stuff, and yeah, you're right. We can acknowledge the injuries, and we've said it repeatedly. The club were ill prepared for the season ahead. Right? We'll repeat that. The club were ill prepared for the season ahead. But this is not the first time the club have been ill prepared. This is a common occurrence at Tottenham Hotspur. The same way, mass injuries, that is actually becoming commonplace at Tottenham. If I look at some of the seasons we had, Poch's second last season when we made the Champions League final, riddled with injury. The season after that with Jose Mourinho, Kane's son injured for months. We're not talking weeks, months. Right? Jan Vertonghen on his way out. The following season, okay, not too many injuries. It was just poor. But Conte, his first season in the Champions League, riddled with injuries. Richarlison injured, Kulusevski injured. Injuries. Last season with Ange, injuries. Injuries they're not exclusive to Ange Postecoglou now. Of course, the depth and the uniqueness of the injuries. Listen, what happened in December was peak. Even by my standard, I've not seen anything like that before. Where it's literally the entire gone. So there's grace. There's grace given there. But when you still get some of the players back second half of the season, enough to juggle multiple games, and you still finish 17th, sorry, sympathy's gone. However, back onto the point I was making. Players are definitely part of the problem. It's not just one. You can't just get rid of Ange and you're going to fix Tottenham. It doesn't work like that, right? We didn't do enough in the summer, and we have players who have not performed. So naturally, we're linked to players that can come and improve the club. And one of the players that have been linked to come and improve the club's position, Leroy Sané. So can we talk on Leroy Sané, please? Because there's been a lot of chat, right? And from what Christian Falk is saying and a few other guys, apparently we're not going to sign Tel and Sané if Sané is interested in Tottenham. If we are to sign Sané, it's either Sané or Tel. So I want to get your thoughts on Sané as a signing in general, and then I want to get your thoughts on who you would pick, Sané or Tel.
This is so easy. You can choose the 29-year-old who's been there, done it, experienced what we need, and someone who you can actually rely upon. And people are saying, oh, Sané's falling off. Sané's not good. He had his best goal scoring season in the league for them last year, by the way. So please miss me of any of that. Sané is definitely a good move for Tottenham. We need experienced players. We need players that have been around winners for a long time. Sané's done that for the last 7-8 years of his career. He's been around winners. When he was at City, he was doing big things. Now, he's not going to have that electric pace that he had when he was at City. He is coming to, the latter stage of his career, but he's still quick. He's still good. When you're talking about left wing, right wing, adaptable for either sides. But for me, he's levels above every winger we've got in our team. If we're turning down Sané, then I don't know who people think that we are, because you can't look at Tel and tell me 33.5, because I'm hearing that's this rumored negotiated fee Spurs are looking at, is to get him in for around 33.5 million. Plus the 10 mil, that's a 45 million pound deal almost. That's horrible use of money. We know with Spurs, if you spend that money on Tel, that's getting taken away from a few other deals. So when I look at this Leroy Sané deal, I'm looking at it and saying, it's free. Yeah, it might be big wages. Yeah, it might be a big sign-on fee. But that don't matter. Big clubs pay big wages. And I'm not being funny. He's probably not going to want to be at Spurs for a long time. It might only be a 2 to 3 year contract. And that's fine with me. We don't need him for 4 to 5 years. Just a 2 to 3 year. Give him a 3-year deal. Give him a 3-year deal. Let him see 3 years out. And by the time he's coming to the end of his Spurs career, we're going to need someone better. And we're probably going to have those players in the ranks, whether it's Mikey Moore, Odebert, Yan Min-hyuk, one of the other younger players or younger bloods that are coming through. So get him on a short-term deal, fairly short-term deal, and get the deal done, man. It's a perfect player for our system, or just for our team in general. Forget system.
Interesting. So I have a different opinion to this, but Yao, I want to hear your view. Where do you stand on Leroy Sané?
I'm glad that we got here. Who plays on our right wing?
Brennan Ole Johnson.
Okay. By stats wise, he's our top goal scorer, because I have to show him some sort of respect. Our top goal scorer, and he scored in the final. Okay. I mean, by right, he has every right to demand a starting spot, going into the next season. But I don't give a flying crap. Bring the man that's called Leroy Sané to my club. You know why? Because I don't give a damn for sentimental value. Man, don't care. I've said this for many years. I'm not here for the sentimental things. I'm here for two things only. Glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspurs, and victory. Now, I've got the glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspurs part because of the trophy lift. But what I did not have for most of last season was victory. I had a lot of else. Yeah. I'm not going to tolerate it. I want a real killer on these wings. I want man that can look at their defender and be like, it's not going to be a comfy day for you. I'm going to go left. I'm going to go right. It's going to be hectic for you. You know, one thing Johnson has never shown me in a Spurs shirt? A take on. Not one single take on I can remember in my life as he's been in the Spurs shirt. I don't need to see it. I'll take Sané. I don't want to pay the super high wages, by the way. But I will take Sané if he's willing to negotiate a good enough. If he wants to be the highest paid player at Spurs, I don't actually have a problem with that, because our highest paid player right now is Son. So I don't even have a problem, and it's what, 200k. Yeah, so I don't really have a problem with it being 250 or whatever it is. But I will take Leroy Sané. My problem is, I don't understand how the club can't just get Sané on whatever deal and then just get an extended loan for Tel. You've got a good relationship with Bayern Munich. Make it work. Like, honestly, Levy's there. I keep telling people he's within arm's reach at the stadium. Make it happen. Whatever. You see Everton, they're the example. Their chairman was moving wicked and bad, doing too much. Yeah, they said, "Nah, bruv, you're way too close." That man slapped him. He went and built a new stadium. That's the kind of turnover I want to see at Spurs. Let Levy know it's not safe for him in North London because he's doing too much. But bring Sané. Bring Sané.
Interesting. So you're both yeses. I'm going to be the black sheep, and I'm going to say I don't think that's the best move for Tottenham, if I'm being honest. Now, I like Sané. I think he's a good player. He's a talented player, but he's a player, in my opinion, who, yes, I know he's come off his best goal-scoring season in the Bundesliga, but I've actually watched a fair amount of Bayern Munich over the last couple of years for obvious reasons, and there's one too many games where the guy just fails to impress. And I'm not just talking about scoring goals. I'm literally talking about his performance, his decision making, his proactiveness with the ball, and he's injury prone. He's injury prone. I'm not even looking at it. If you told me this was Leroy Sané pre ACL at City, you don't even need to ask me the question. I'm literally driving to Munich, grabbing him by his hair and throwing him into a cab and sending him to to N17. But unfortunately, the Leroy Sané that we see today, whilst he is a good player, whilst he is better than every winger we have at our club, because he is, and he's much better than Tel, he's not a player for me who I think is going to come in and give us the relief that we're looking for. And what I mean by that is I don't think he's going to score loads of goals. I don't think he's going to be the guy for Tottenham most weeks. And I don't think he's going to be fit enough for the majority of the season, right? And then when you think of the fact that he's, like you said, George, so you looked at it from one angle in terms of what he's won. You're right. Tottenham could benefit from a winner. But I could also say on the flip side, he's won everything. What does he have to prove at Tottenham? He could just be coming here for a paycheck, genuinely. And if I'm being honest, I don't really expect Leroy Sané on a free transfer to come to Tottenham. I don't. Sorry, I just don't. But let's say he did. Where's the motivation? Let me give you an example. So someone like Mbeumo. Mbeumo is not a better footballer than Leroy Sané. He's not. But if I'm talking about someone who's mashing work in the Premier League, who's a dependable player for his team most weeks, who can work in this system, who's a good age, who's not going to cost as much as Leroy Sané in wages, and has shown the capacity to deliver and plays off the right, am I really going to swap that for Sané? I know Sané is...
you said Sané was injury prone, so I checked it. He's missed 16 games in 4 seasons. He's far from injury prone. I'm on transfer market, and I was looking at. I was like, okay, because I didn't know him to be injury prone. I know he had the big ACL injury, and he's had moments misses. But I'm seeing he didn't have an injury for the whole of last season. He missed games due to fitness. He had groin surgery, but that was before the season. And then in between that, he's had barely any knee problems. Maybe one season where he's kept him out for 1 or 2 games. He's generally not been injury prone. Like he is more than available. But
fair enough. So
I do get your point about Mbeumo. If the point is, can we get someone who's proven or get Sané, I'd go Mbeumo because Mbeumo's like 24, 25. He's mad young. Like that bar lead is deceiving, bro, because he's mad young. And on top of the fact is he just bagged 15 goals in the Premier League this season. Like I would take him in a heartbeat.
20 goals. He hit 20 league goals. So
wait, I thought he was on 15 still.
20 league goals. So someone here. So this comment, I can be on board with this. Carlos says we should get both Sané and Mbeumo, and I could be on board with that.
Sané a free transfer?
Yeah,
Sané's a free transfer. I could be on board with that. What I'm saying is, I don't think Sané should be the main wide option signing. Sorry, we need someone who's a bit more robust and dependable. I'm sorry, we do. Leroy Sané at this stage of his career, it sounds mad saying it, but I don't think he's that dependable. I don't. He's way more dependable than Johnson, than Tell. Yeah. But is he going to operate at the level that we need? If you're talking about competing regularly, trying to get top 3, top 4. On name, yes. On performances, I don't know. And I'm not even saying necessarily, like, when I say I don't want him, I'm going OTT. Like, what I'm saying is we're at the start of the summer. We just got into Champions League. We should have money to go out and get players that we can see being here for the long haul. And then you can look at Leroy Sané.
When you say players for the long haul, you got to be careful, bro, because you know who your chairman is, right? Yeah, before we end up with an 18-year-old, we got to give them a flipping work experience for the whole season. You know, like, look, we've got Odegaard. It wasn't too much of a great season. He had moments.
Mid.
He had moments.
I mean, he did miss 6 months. Let's clarify that. He did miss.
No, that's why I said it wasn't too great of a season.
Yeah, his season was mid.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's George said. You know, he missed 6 months now. What do you want? Like, what do you want?
Safe.
If Kane came back, you'd have been making bare excuses for Harry Kane, bro.
I wouldn't have, because Kane would have delivered.
That. Have we not had excuses about Madison all season?
Madison has delivered. Madison has delivered. Kane, and again, I actually like Odegaard. I think Odegaard is a good player. I'm just saying.
Who scored the 2 goals against
RZ?
Yeah.
Listen, you don't have to do this with me.
Fine. Yeah.
I like Odegaard. I like Odegaard. I wasn't mad when the club signed him, but again, the issue with Odegaard is he's 20 years old.
Yeah.
Mikey Moore's 17 years old. Yang is
ready for the jump up, by the way. He's
of course
not ready.
Exactly. He needs time. So, and then you got Yang, who's out on loan at QPR. So really, let's just say Son potentially leaves this summer, then our most senior winger would be Brennan Johnson. What? What?
Listen, I don't care that people sing the Johnson song. Yeah, I know what I've seen. Fine, he might be a back post merchant. He might have that run on lock, and that's great. especially when your team is like 1 or 2-0 up. That's fantastic. But brother, 90 minutes of this guy is hell. He just does not take on his bloody fullback. I don't understand it. I really do not understand it. For me, we're unfortunate that this system has come into play while Son is at the tail end of his career. Yeah, because if this was, 20-year-old, 23-year-old, if this was young man Son, take-ons galore. Like he would have been going toe-to-toe with fullbacks across the country. But he doesn't have it in the legs no more. He can't do it. So we can't be going into next season with Odobert, no offense, Odobert and Johnson, with Kulu potentially as a potential.
Kulu's cooked. He's got a knee injury. He's not coming back for a long time, bro. He's cooked.
Yeah, true. I forgot. I even forgot about the injury.
That's surgery, man. He's out until probably December, maybe
close to the end of the year, I imagine. Yeah.
That's a madness. I even forgot that he had the surgery. So yeah.
So
so even if you take Kulu out, let's look at for now, because certain personnel haven't left. Tel was loaned. Timo was loaned. I can't believe we got Timo a winner's medal. Let's shock it. But Timo was on loan. So them man are gone. So really and truly, our winging option on the left-hand side is Odobert, Son, Moore. And on the right-hand side is just Johnson.
Yeah,
brother, that can't run.
100%.
We legitimately need two reinforcements. It can't run.
100%. And I think the initial question, would I take Sane or Tel? I'm taking Sane every day of the week over Tel.
Yeah, because we need the experience.
We need the experience, and we need like established quality. But there's a comment here from EDE. He says I'm contradicting myself. I'm not. When I say long haul, I'm talking 23, 24. That's long haul. You sign them on a 6-year deal, they're there till 30 years old. We need to get out this habit of signing more and more 18, 19-year-olds for immediate first team football. If you're going to sign them, have a pathway for them into the first team. You can loan them out, whatnot. But that should not be your first choice signing or your first team signing, should I say. Like, how many kids have we bought in the last 2-3 years? That's all well and good. But it should not compromise the budget and the attitude of signing established players to come into this team. You can do both. You can bring the age of the team down while still making the first team better. I don't know why we try and make it rocket science. Eze was right there last summer. We didn't do it. And Mbeumo was right there this summer. We're not doing it. Why? You sign both those two players. That's 110 million, 115 million max. That's Brennan Johnson and Richarlison money plus some change, bro. Come on.
Now you're talking. Even though I prefer Eze in the 10, now you're talking. Getting Eze and Mbeumo, or Eze and Mbeumo and Sane, because Sane is a free transfer. Jesus, that's exciting.
You know what it is, yeah? I'm tired of seeing players with high ceilings. I need some floor raisers. That's as simple as it. I just need some floor raisers, some players that are going to lift the level of our team instantly right now to another level. Forget in 3 years, this player is going to be, I don't care about that. Show me next season, this player is going to come in instantly and our team's better. Starters, like that's it. Bona fide starters.
You know what I haven't seen? I know man are going to not agree with what I'm about to say. But what I haven't seen since Bale's last season at Spurs, I know man are going to say Son does it. Son does it every 6 or 3 games. I'm talking about man that just cuts and blams it. In that Bale last season, yeah, he literally reminded me what that cut and slappers looks like. I'm not saying Son doesn't do it and hasn't done it, yeah, but there's been many times this season, left or right hand side, where man's cutting and it's like, bruv, wrap it. Like, test this goalkeeper. You know what happened Sunday just gone? Yeah, that Brighton you turned in, said,
Did it blammed it against us?
I got something special for you. Man blamed it, and it was a special one. Like, This is what I'm talking about. I can't accept that next season. I can't accept teams coming to our ground, doubling up on their victories, beating us home and away, 4-1, 3-1. Nasty business. Change it.
So you made a really good point there, and I'll go through our wingers, right? Son, he doesn't really do it nowadays because he's not what he used to be, and defenders can mark him better. but he still did it on occasions this season. Tell, he's done it a couple of times, but his shot is blazing over the bar because his shooting is wayward. Odebear, his decision making isn't good. He's got the talent, he can jink, but his decision making isn't good. So when he cuts inside, he'll go back on the outside. And then Brennan Johnson, he doesn't do it full stop because he can't. He literally doesn't do it. This guy does not have cutting and shoot in his repertoire at all. At all. He can't do it. So for all intents and purposes, we don't have anyone who is able to do that.
You know who
you know Brennan Johnson is? Yeah. I just thought of it now. You know, back in the day when you used to play PS2 and all them things, and on FIFA, you couldn't run with the analog stick like that. You didn't have the 360 dribbling. You run in straight lines, diagonal, using the D-pad. Cuz that's Brennan Johnson. You're dribbling with the D-pad, bro. You're just going left, right. You can't cut in between. There's none of that, bro. It's just straight left, right, straight lines, and that's the thing with him, man. Like, because you see him getting into the areas, you're just like, oh, it just lets you down. It's the decision making from all of our front players. That's the thing there. We've got no clinical. People that have, more than anything, people have got the confidence and arrogance to think that they can do it because everyone's just too shy, man.
If I'm Tottenham this summer, like, again, I like Tell. I think he's a good player and I've defended him, but I don't have patience. And I've said this in the chat. I don't have patience to sign another 19/20-year-old kid, and then we're having to wait for essentially 3 of our front 4, all similar ages, all need minutes, all are raw, they're going to be something in 2-3 years' time. I don't want to hear it. No. Go sign Eze, go sign Mbeumo. You get those 2 players. If you think if we sign those 2 players, I'm going to even care one bit if we sign Sane. I'll say bring Sane. Fantastic. Don't retain Tell. Ban Werner from N17, right? Yeah. Get loan moves for Mikey Moore. Get another loan move for Yang. If Son leaves, because that's a possibility this summer. If Son leaves, then Mbeumo, Eze, Sane, do it. Go and do it. I don't want to see no dibbling. I don't care. I don't want to see Tyler. I don't want to see Tyler Dibbling mentioned with this football club. I don't want to see it. No. And for all the talk, this comment from Josh is perfect. I don't know if you lot can hear my washing machine. It's doing a madness right now. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Oh my days. Fuck rumbling. It's going to ruin this pod. It's
shouting too, bruv.
But before I put myself on mute, Tyler Dibbling and Tell, this is what I could see the club doing. 100%.
This will be our biggest issue. This will be one of our biggest issues for this summer, is if we go out there and we sign again further to a 20-year-old, a 19-year-old. We've been briefed already. The squad needs experience. Ange said it in January, to be fair, before the January window. He said he identified that maybe we made a mistake at the start of the transfer window and brought in too many young players, inexperienced players. And now I think we need a bit more experience to add to this team. So if we go sign Tell and Dibbling, my head's going to be on Mars. Champions League football with 2 players that have never played it. Like, yeah, Tell's had a few minutes there, but he's not at the required level. Like, it's just not good enough. I'm like interested when I'm hearing like Xavi Simons and Cherky and these types of players. I don't want to hear about Dibbling at all. I want to hear, like, if we're gonna go for a young player, we go for the best in their class. That is Rayan Cherky, Xavi Simons. Eze's not even young no more. He's about 26. But those types of players where you're going to have to spend a hefty amount, that's who I want. Not these English and then like Tell, he's a Bayern reject. So let's have it right. Like, as much as I actually think he's a decent player, he is a Bayern reject. They offered him to about 6 clubs in January because they didn't want him. And the same thing's going to happen this summer because it's not like he pulled up any trees with any of his performances for Spurs. So, yeah, man, they're ready to fleece us for 10 mil. We can't give him any more money for this guy.
Yeah, I agree. I know everyone's saying the price is decent, and I used to sing the same hymn sheet as well. But then I said, you know what? I don't have time. 40 million. I don't want to see that spent on another kid. Add 10 million and go get us a 24, 25-year-old man who's mashing work in this league or mashing work in another league. It doesn't even have to be Prem proven. Just get us someone who's mashing work. Get us someone when, if we sign them, we're saying, yeah, they're coming in. There's no doubt. When was the last time Tottenham have gone out of their way to sign there's no doubt this guy's coming into 11? I can think of maybe 3 players. I know obviously you lot will like, I'm not gonna say the names, but I can think of a couple of players, right? But when you look at last summer, Bergvor's like, yeah, the kid looks sick, but we're gonna need to see in the next couple of years. Archie Gray, yeah, he looked good in the championship, but we're gonna need to see. Yeah, Odegaard, he looked good for Burnley, but we're gonna need to see. When was the last time Spurs went out and got an attacker, winger, and you said, yeah, this is a bad boy signing? When?
What, a winger?
An attacker, period.
Or just an attacker?
I'm not saying good, like not good, not decent. I'm saying, when was the last time Tottenham signed an attacker and you said, yeah, that's a bad boy signing?
Swear down, it might be Van der Vaart. It might be Van der Vaart, bro. I swear.
No, for me, it was, well, after Van der Vaart, it was Eriksen.
Oh, yeah.
See, I count him as a midfielder, but yeah, you're right. That was a bad boy signing.
Yeah, I knew about Eriksen before he came to Spurs. I was like, just like when we were linked to Frankie de Jong, I was like, this, sign him. Just sign him. I know this guy is quality. Obviously, Eriksen showed what he showed, blah, blah, blah. But before that, yeah, it would have been Van der Vaart. And Van der Vaart was like at the to me, he wasn't. He was at the tail end of his career. And then if you go further back, I guess you could argue Modric if you knew about like all the hype around Modric, but nobody really knew what Modric was going to be. But Modric was touted to be a big.
Modric is cold though, but I'm talking more like strictly forwards, not like midfielder. I'm talking like strictly forwards. Wide attacker or striker.
Van der Vaart and then Berbatov. That's it.
That's who we need. And even if we keep Ange, he needs players. No manager, like we need attacking reinforcements. He needs players. You've got an offensive manager, yet you're giving him blunt attackers, bro. It doesn't make sense. Or you're giving him like kiddie tools.
You know the part I don't understand is fine. All right, fine. He doesn't have the wingers that take on players. All right, cool, whatever. My issue with this club, yeah, it's not even just the transfer policy and Daniel Levy. My biggest issue is actually the players. I'm like, do you man not have no shame? Fact. Like, how can you back a man and say, yeah, you will go to war for a man that handed so many L's in your life? You think, listen, he's my brother. He is my brother. I'm gonna say this like loud so people, he is my brother. But when Antonio Tope was managing our TFL team, yeah, into the ground when our team got double relegated, yeah, you think he could call me, yeah, and be like, yeah, I need you to come and play on set? I said, brother, don't call my phone, bruv. Don't speak to me. Yeah, I want you sacked. I don't care if you're my brother. I want you sacked. I need you gone. Yeah, we needed a coach. Coach came and changed everything around, gave me the phone call, sat me down. I said, yeah, brother, we're here. And then we won a cup. Finished top 4, we won a cup. That's what I'm talking about. This season, we went on a flipping title chase. We were unlucky. I don't understand how Romero can be like, sack Ange, and I'm gone. You disrespectful rat. Yeah. Because you know what pisses me off the most about Romero is, for all his quality, yeah, when he's on job, he's legitimately a good defender. I'm not gonna go as far.
He's a quality centre back. He's a quality.
I'm not gonna go as far. Quality is the correct term, but I'm not going to say he's a great defender. He's a very good defender. Yeah, he is quality, as you said. But brother, your first season, you were injured for half of it, came back to the tail end, and helped us get top 4. Your second season, you were injured again for half of it, came back towards the end, we finished 8th. Your third season, you were injured for half of it, came back.
No, third season, he actually played a lot of football. He was fantastic in the third season. Bro,
yeah, that was last year, innit? Last year he was.
He was injured. Fast, man. But he was injured for a lot of it.
Like 2 months.
He wasn't. He wasn't.
He was 2 months. I think it was like November, December.
How many months in the season?
He wasn't. He actually played. I think he played over 30. I think he played over 30 games that season.
That's a shock to me.
Which is yeah, I know.
That's a shock to me.
Last year was his best season in the Spurs show, no doubt about that. I think we all.
How many games did he complete this season?
Yeah, this season's been a mess. This season,
in fact, how many seasons? How many?
This season 18. Last season.
Wow.
This season 18. Last season 33.
What was the season before that?
The season before that was 27.
Yeah.
And then the season before that was 22.
That's horrid. I'm sorry to say this. Like, we're talking, there's a stat that's going out there that when we have Mickey Van der Vaart and Romero in the squad, our record is actually very good. It's apparently the last person that said it was that it's up there with the top 4 and all that kind runs. I'm like, yeah,
That's because they barely play, so the numbers are skewed.
of course. But my one of the most important things in sports, not just anything, just sports in general. You know why certain men make it in sports? Because of one particular thing: availability. You know, there are some men that you can look at and you be like, brother, I don't know how you made it. But outside of their ability to be fit and like at least athletically be capable of handling the pressures of the sport at that level, they're available. Like Pedro Porro was available all season. Destiny was not. Johnson was basically available all season, no matter what. Who else was on the right? Was not. Kulu was not. Bentancur was not. Bentancur knocked himself out. do you know how hard it is to knock yourself out from a diving header? I shouldn't even laugh because it was a scary moment. But brother went and the ball was on the ground. Why did your cranium tell you to go for a diving header? The ball was on the turf. Why did your brain tell you I'm going to slaver my head here, yeah, and see if I'm going to survive? It didn't make sense. For me, this summer is the biggest summer in Spurs' history.
It always is.
And I genuinely think Daniel Levy is going to mess it up. Paratici arrives on the 1st. There's two things that's actually important for us. Paratici arrives on the 1st of July.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be surprised if nothing happens till then. Yeah, I'm just saying it for now. But Vinay, I think that's how you pronounce it, Vinay, he arrived on the 1st of June. So we could legitimately start.
I'd imagine with regards to Paratici, he's already working. He's been working for months.
But then I think if he's been working, then that maybe Vinay come in June, on the 1st of June is when we will start to make moves. Does that make sense? Like, because he's the CEO. He's the CEO of football operations or whatever the title is. So I'm going to assume that him arriving on June 1st is when we will start to.
You know what's strange about all that though? Is there's not been no official, I suppose, club message to say Johan Langer and Scott Mann would be losing their jobs, has there? There's not been anything to say that.
And I was going to ask that as well. So Paratici coming in, what does that actually mean for Lang?
I can imagine he's going to get a similar role to when Steve Hitchen was here and Paratici came.
Got it.
Just
so
like,
he will fall into Paratici.
Yeah, 100%. Paratici is going to be like head of.
Yeah, Lang can go and focus on the youth man. Them. Like, you know, he had a little bit. I'll give him, you know, I'll be nice. You know, he did all right for the whole, you know, Bergvall and what do you call him, Gray kind of deals. That's all right, cool, well done, whatever, bruv. Leave him to the youngsters and all that kind of stuff. But Scott Mann, that brother can never be in North London ever again. Yeah. I don't want man to praise him for bringing Ange to this club and us winning the Europa League. What Scott Mann has done to this club is egregious. Like I've told fans before, Levy is within arm's reach. So is Scott Mann. You know what to do. Yeah? Just follow the same credence that Everton fans did, bruv. Because we can't take this stuff no more. Ain't got time for it.
Ain't got time for Tottenham in general, man. And you made a really good point. You said the players, because amongst all the Ange talk, we can't lose sight of the players and the role that they've had to play in this season. And a lot of players, I know everyone's still in this bubble, but players have to go. Basuma, he's got to go. Richarlison, he's got to go. Ben Davies, he's got to go. Foster, released. Reguilon, released. Bro, Son, I would like Son to stay just to play the coach behind the influence behind the scenes. But if he goes this summer, whilst I will cherish what he's done for the club and I'll send him off well, that isn't a move where I'm gonna be like, oh my God, how could we sell Son? No. Right?
He would leave on a high.
I actually think it'd be the perfect way to leave. Like, not too many legends get to leave on a high.
He would leave on a high. Man lifted the trophy, bro.
He led us into Champions League football, and then he's left us like to go on better pastures. Like, it'd be the perfect way for him to leave. I can't even lie.
In fact,
it's a whole 10 years since he joined as well. So he's completed his full service. Like,
not for, even before we get to Scarlett. Sorry, yeah, like in fact, Son has to go this summer. Like if we're being dead serious, like he's the highest earner in the club, he has to go this summer. Bring the no. But the reason why is because
I can't lie, man. I just want to keep him around, man. Just to keep him around.
I hear keeping him. I don't mind either.
I can hear keeping him around if he wants to lower his wages. That's fine because I don't.
He's not going to lower his wages though.
All right, then you can bounce, bro, because your father embraced you for the first time in 10 years. I ain't got time for it.
That's the pod name. His father embraced him,
bro. He hugged man with a straight face. That's a real killer. Can we sign his father? Because I believe he's got take on value, bro. I believe he will take on these fullbacks. True story, bro. That's a real killer, man. That hugged his son's there balling, and he's like, relax, bro. Act like you've been here before. You haven't, but act like you've been here before, bro. Nah, man, I ain't got time for it. Seriously, like if we need to stop with the whole sentimental things, because since we've won this trophy, I've heard fans saying, "Oh yeah, we can kick on, keep Son for another season. Think about Keith Davis. Think about bringing Kane back." Huh? Come on now, we need to have shape. We need to have shape. We need to have some shape, bro. This is
before we end it, and again, this is going to be a knocking debate all summer, right? But I wanted us to focus because I think we're all aligned on what we need in the midfield and in the attack. But I want to talk about the defense because the defense it's a conundrum, because they signed Danso in January because of the injuries to Van de Ven and Romero, and then Dragusin, right?
Yeah.
But obviously Ben Davies, his contract expires this summer, so that's one less centre back option. But right now you have Van de Ven, Romero, Dragusin, Danso. Then you got Dorrington on loan. Then you got Vuskovic on loan. Ashley Phillips on loan. Ashley Phillips, they're probably going to sell him. But let's just say there's like 5-6 options there that you're looking at centre back, right? And then you got Romero, who's got 2 years left on his deal, hasn't signed a new deal yet. There's all sorts of rumors talking about how his future is attached to Ange's. So how do you lot play the centre back position? Like, what would you do if you were Tottenham Hotspur right now in that department?
I think we've got to look at it like this. Romero is our captain, like one of our club captains. So we're not going to displace him or try to displace his position, especially if the manager's here. And like you said, he wants to stay if Ange stays. If Ange leaves and that leads to Romero leaving, then we need to go sign a new centre-back that can partner Van de Ven. And I'm not going to lie, like you guys said, Romero's a top-quality centre-back. I'm a big fan of Romero personally. Like, I think he's been huge for our club in these terrible years that we've had. But at the same time, I know we can go sign a centre-back at his level. There's plenty out there. It's not like Romero is one of a kind. There is a lot of good centre-backs, I think, out there that we can replace him with. And some that will probably be better for us just because their playing style isn't so aggressive, isn't so, I want to step out of position, I want to play this progressive pass. Sometimes someone who's a little bit more calmer, more of a leader, a Gahey type player. I'm not a big fan of Gahey in particular, but that type player, someone who can actually be a proper captain, someone who's vocal at the back. So I think we only need to sign a new centre-back if Romero leaves, because I'm happy with some of the other options we have. Dragusin, I don't think he's good enough, but with Vuskovic,
he's not going to go. He's got his knee injury, so we can't even move him on.
He won't go nowhere. But I also think Vuskovic is going to be the next in line behind Van de Ven. He's obviously the other left-footed centre back. Plus,
he's left-footed.
He's left-footed.
I might be wrong. I know he plays on the left side. So if he's right-footed, I know he plays on the left side. I'm pretty sure.
I didn't realize he was
right-footed. I could be wrong.
So did I.
But at the same time, I'm pretty sure he plays on the left side, or he may be playing in the center of a back three. It's either of those two, because I did do some scouting on him early in the season, but it's been months. So I've looked into it. Yeah, left center back. I think he's right-footed left center back. He might be similar to Gahey and like that man. But he will be coming as coverage for Van de Ven. He looks like he's ready to come in and not have a big impact, but in those Carabao Cup games and some of these other games, coming off the bench, or maybe if we get an injury.
Is he actually joining this summer?
Yeah. He's joining.
Because he got called up to the Croatian national team, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. He is right-footed. I'm looking at it now. He is right-footed. But again, with him, there's promise with him as well, and it's good that he plays left centre back. But that's why I'm like, it's going to be interesting to see what the club does, because even if you were to keep Romero and Van de Ven, they're injury prone, so you have to expect that they're going to miss a good chunk of the season, right?
They're injury
So
because of the manager and his tactics.
and this is what I was going to say. So it's like, if you're not going to sack the manager who's playing in such a way that makes these guys, that puts these guys in positions where they're going to overextend themselves, then you have to go out and sign another defender. If Ben Davies leaves, I can't see how we can get away without signing a left-sided defender, because in my eyes, you need to be doing what, and I'm not going to use Calafiori as the example. You need to do what Arsenal did with Timber, personally. Someone who can play at fullback but can play at centre-back. That sweet spot. Yeah. They need that on the left-hand side. They absolutely need that on the left-hand side. I've not watched him, so but yeah,
he looks. I've only seen minimal of him, but from what I saw, he looked good, and I was like, "This is the." I've hearing a lot of teams after him. I was like, "I've seen something decent. Left centre back, left back. This could work. This could work."
That's what we need. Like, and annoyingly, I hate giving Arsenal credit, but like in recent years, I feel like the one part of their team that they've been able to really pattern up in is defense, and I think they've done that because they've got so many players that are adaptable. They can play two positions, but they can play two positions well. Tomiyasu, he could play centre back, right back. Timber, centre back, right back, but he also play left back. Ben White, centre back, right back. Even Calafiori, I know he's not played that much, but centre back, left back. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, Spurs, we need that type of defender. We do. To cover Destiny and even push Destiny for his spot. 2, to cover Van de Ven and push Van de Ven for his spot. We need it. So if this me, that's the one signing I'm making this summer, irrespective of whatever happens with Romero. If Romero does leave, then yeah, that opens up a can of worms as to how you play that. And I don't envy the club in terms of how they play that. In theory, it should be straightforward. You get money, you replace him. But I feel like his skill set, whilst there are some components that are easy to replace, I think we'll struggle to find centre-backs who can pass the ball out from the back the way he can. However, you can play different ways. You can mix it up, man. If we can get good money for Romero and he does want to leave, then we just need to throw that money back into the position.
We need, listen, we got listen. Goalkeeper-wise, yeah, we got Vicario, we got Kinski. Okay, so at least we got covered for the goalkeeper, young kid that we can kind of like train and all that kind of stuff. Centre back wise, Danso, I'm not too sure.
He's okay.
Radu is
he needs to go.
Vuskovic, obviously we'll wait and see. But from the one match that I did watch on the highlights that and other people that have been speaking about him, it's looking like he's had a good season, and it's good that he's been called up to the national team and get to watch him in those games. We need competition for Destiny on the left-hand side. Like, I don't want to be talking about Spence playing both sides. Just make Spence play the right-hand side and have someone challenge Destiny on the left-hand side. Simple. But the one position outside of the attack that needs surgery is that number 6. Jesus Christ. Yeah. If we end this summer with Basuma and Bentancur or Gray, and this is not even a shot at Gray, any one of those 3 as the starting 6. I know people will be like, you can play a double pivot. Shut your mouth. If one of those 3 are the starting 6, I will purchase a season ticket just to commit violence. Just to commit violence, because this cannot run. That position in the League Cup, in the FA Cup, in the Champions League is what will be the reason we die, and die horridly. Oh, and Aston Villa are in big trouble, by the way. Like, in terms of, like, we need to keep an eye out on that team. 99 or 90% of their revenue
96
is on. Listen,
there's a few players they've got that I'm interested in. I'm just saying.
All I'm saying is,
I don't think it'll be that easy, but let's see anyway. But gents, it's been a good pod. It's been very cathartic. We've had a nice amount of viewers. Thanks for getting involved for those who have stuck around for the entire pod. It's been good to address some of your questions. George, Yao, it's been a pleasure as always. Mandem, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy another weekend of Spurs being European champions. Yeah, champions of Europe. In fact, say that tonight, because tonight is the last night we'll be able to say champions of Europe, because tomorrow
the winners
there
of
will
the
be
Super
the
Cup.
yeah.
Until the winners of the Super Cup. Facts out.
Until
Trust me.
exactly.
We'll be there.
Exactly. Sorry. So there's one guy, Jibsy. I asked you a question. I've seen your question, bro. Don't worry, man. I'll do something on my channel. I've been neglecting it. I know. I'm sorry. I'll do something on my channel, bro. Bless up, people. Take care. Have a good weekend. Up the Spurs, and we'll be back next week for another pod. Peace.